Hello, my name is Rashad Sami Abdul Gawad. I have been mind controlled by military and big commanders. Okay. So basically, what I've come to understand is that they process the retina information and can actually visually see what I see digitally. And some of this is really permitted, okay? Like, I worked very hard on coming up with these theories, and the military has literally granted me communication with the media and internet. So please take some notes. The visual cognitive process is, I'm calling it a process, meaning it's already understood and programmed and digitally reproduced to military, okay? So they can literally control me like I'm a toy or a video game. Very advanced one. But my point is, when I'm in environments and I found commands that initiate programming that automate motion of my body and weaponize fall sequences, using environmental objects to weaponize the fall states, knowing that the military detects the object and the command and then automates motion of my body after the command is pronounced towards the object to weaponize the sequence. So these are all light sequences, and I've experimented with heavy sequences, and they don't really permit it. Every time I find one, they shut it down. They shut it down. They don't let me experiment with heavy sequencing. It's not really safe, and I'm not like, it's not really okay, you know, like nobody should really be demoing with military, but my point is that I am, and I found environmental objects that are selected by either the retina information or my cognition, my attention, and part of that is assessed by what the retina is accessing in the environmental field, because once you understand the retina really plays a big role in this mind control program, that they can now automate programs. Like if I think of something and I look at something, the object is already described, has its descriptions and programming, but they can automate responses, speech, cognitive functions, voices, or secret thoughts that sound like basic commands that are pronounced discreetly to the brain. They use those to redefine your environment or to influence you, to control you, okay? Make you think that ideas are yours when they're not, okay? But when I'm here, I've learned in my house so many private things. Like, I mean, I've shown the CIA so many. They're okay. They're light sequences, you know. They're just light programs that play, but they are processes that take control over me. So, like, my objective is to get the Army on board to defend the Constitution, because a part of mind control processing violates the Constitution. Synthetic speech processing. Military speaks for me very, very, very phenomenally. Like, my speech is controlled. I can only select so many values, and that's why I hesitate and stop, and I have to process, and the military has to process, etc., so things stay in uniform. But it violates the U.S. Constitution. Every Army takes an oath to protect the Constitution, and it's been violated. So just help a brother out, you know, like from one place to another, just hear me out. So I'm trying to get the CIA to understand that they've defaulted on the Constitution. They've broken it, because when I say chant, Allah Akbar, it's pronounced. When I say chant again, Allah Akbar, rapid chant, Allah Akbar, all these various chants are pronounced. Ali Takalay. And I've already inspired military and CIA, and I already told them about the attack chants, and I mean the Fresno shooter, etc. People that have been programmed to use attack chants while firing upon innocent lives and in murder. Okay, and then they said in the media that they didn't feel like it was a terrorist attack. Well, I've linked it to terrorism because it's processing that creates terrorism. Okay? Neurological processing is used for terrorism in a lot of situations. Some situations you hear voices, delusions, schizophrenia, you have synthetic Alzheimer's, more delusions, more schizophrenia-like symptoms, but caused by programming. Okay? I only know this because I lost my stepfather to Parkinson's, and he suffered from weaponized fall conditions. He would lose his balance when he lifted his head up, and the military took control over him and modulated his brain activity to fall and hit his head extremely hard in a weaponized fall condition. So that's how I understand about Alzheimer's. That, and I sat in a chair after a lady had synthetic Parkinson's, and the program had, the military had utilized that program of synthetic Parkinson's in a light sequence over my neurology. So I became tremored, and I became to shake. Okay? After sitting in a chair, just like the chair was programmed with portions of program or leach. It leached from the chair onto me as an environmental object that maintained the criteria for synthetic Parkinson's. So I was able to understand what synthetic Parkinson's meant because it was reproduced to me in a minor scale, and I started shaking uncontrollably after sitting in the same chair as this lady. Okay? And you can find these people in mental hospitals. You can find them in, you can find them on the street. You can find them anywhere, but this is corruption. Okay? The military is corrupting the United States. Okay? Very seriously. Synthetic Parkinson's, neurological disorders, mind control, programming, doesn't matter. They're all the same things. They're the military. Serious military. It's the same military that commands for ISIS. Seriously. There was a time that I was programmed to say that I commit myself to ISIS, which is an invalid statement. But it was programmed, and my brain was mastered by United States to say that I had committed myself to ISIS. And I already said my name, Rashad Sami Abdul Gawad. It's a Middle Eastern name. I'm 29 years old. Prime target of ISIS in America. This is how they're creating ISIS in America. This is how they create synthetic illnesses in America. This is how they create corruption in America. I'm the only one that understands this. Many people would love to know this. But you have to understand that ISIS is a bigger power. ISIS is just a portion of their duty. But the military is so powerful, they can program the United States and then some places and other places in the world. We know that these places of gang stalking and mind control exist in other places of the world. But guess what? It's still the United States. The United States is the big hitter. They're the winner. But it is corruption. So, apart from my experiences with ISIS commanders known as secret things that I'm not going to describe, military. We're just going to call them military. Okay? There's other terminology to substitute for the word military, but I'm not going to make that public and known. I earned that respect from the military, and I'm not going to fucking say it. Not now. I've already emailed the CIA. I included my terminology, and I said thank you. And I played my dues, but you need to understand what I'm getting at. This military succeeds so much. Like they program elderly people with weakness and body deficiencies in their cardiovascular systems and weakness, and they target drug communities, and they target people, okay, just various people, but most of them are in a place where they're not gonna really put it together. They're either elderly or they're mature. No, I mean, the only reason why I know this stuff is because they've led me to believe it. They've notified me. They speak for me. There was a day they spoke for me, and they replaced my language when I was looking for terminology to describe the military and said military in my mouth. They told me it is the military. So when you're suffering from delusions, Parkinson's, schizophrenia, manic depressiveness, bipolar disorder, but more so delusions, those delusions are programs. ISIS is a process. It's a process. They select people for processing. It's all the same military. All of it's the same military. Very private, very exclusive. Shh. Okay. But you get my point. For a while, they were so serious and so private, I'm blessed to be able to speak this information. So I'm sorry if I rambled a little bit, but just know that ISIS, the military is not going anywhere. Depending on their contracts with ISIS, they're not going anywhere. It's just they're going to change what they do. They're they're undefeatable. So that's where I need the CIA to kind of hear me. Like, I love military, and I love what I do, and I love what I've discovered, and I love what I learned, because it saved me from a lot of abuse. Military treats me very well. I'm not troubled. I don't have, like, I talk about delusions and big things. That's only because I experienced them firsthand. But later, military changed my program. They update me. They've changed so many times. Like, I can imagine, like, I know what synthetic schizophrenia is. I know what synthetic Parkinson's is. I know what military means. I know the terminology that's associated to these masters. I know, I could literally write a book on this. Environmental objects, retina information selecting the object, commands that process and automate motion to weaponize sequences such as motions like stabbing or automation of motion. Like commands like robot stab, original version. Allah, 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 Allah. Repeat Allah multiple times, violating the Constitution, moving my hand for me in a stabbing formation when I think about a process. So these are very sophisticated. In the Arabic, you get the processing. Like, now let's just substitute. Let's just say I was a regular person. I had a knife. The military could certainly command me to stab somebody. That's my point. I would never do it on my own free will. Fuck no. I would never, ever fuck around like this. That's why I use objects in my privacy of my home when there's nobody around. Nobody around. I mean, seriously. Like, I take my own privacy and I try to explain the stuff for the CIA and the military, etc. But I don't take big risks. I'm kind of intelligent here. I have been. I've been smart. I haven't gotten hurt. I haven't hurt anybody, and I don't plan on it. But my point is that the military has the power to program individuals to take attack upon other individuals. Like, I've used names and I reported them to the CIA and the FBI, and I said, look, these are attackers. Literally, like processed attackers, terrorists, if you will. There's no other definition that says a processed attacker, that's corruption, that would be terrorism. That's my point. But these people have been known by the military, and I'm not going to use their names because this is on YouTube, but there are attackers, processed, people that have thought to have been losing their minds. Synthetic speech is formed. They're schizophrenic in a sense. That's how doctors would see it, but they're synthetically schizophrenic. Speech is processed. They have all the telltale signs. They're talking to themselves. They're talking to each other, speaking in other pronunciations of languages, mumbling and making weird sounds, and just nothing valuable comes out. But these are all tell signs of programming. People that just lost their speech and their cognition and now they speak in like other languages. It's it's common. It's more common than you think. I know several people that have been programmed to speak certain things. And I've done my reconnaissance. I've done my research. I know where the corruption was targeted in my community, and I know what they were doing. So I'm aware, and I know where I did my research. They're in poor places sometimes, but they're here. They're very, very controlled. So military is just a big player. You have to understand they broke the Constitution. They violate it all the time. It's not even a boundary anymore. So please, please listen to this. Consider ISIS. Consider America. Consider our Constitution. Consider me, Rashad Sami Abdul-Gawad. Thank you.